Alright. October 18th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 4. Robble, 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 clack. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15th, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer in Studio One of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact. I see. Very well. I would like to move on to some testimony. My voice is really blown, guys. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness. Very well. I call a most familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. Great. Now I got to do his voice. Detective, if you would briefly describe the case to the court. Yes, sir. I'll explain with the guide map here. To understand the case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studio, see? This here is the employee area. The actors did a run-through of their action scenes during the morning here. This is the main gate to the studio. The security lady that works at the studio was here at 1 p.m. on that day. Past the security station, there is a gate, see? Past that are the studios. And here it is, Studio 1. This is the scene of the murder where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. The victim, Jack Hammer, the defendant, Will Powers, and a young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Then, after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio 1. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the guard station. Now, jump ahead to later that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was canceled. The time of death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. That's the case in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? Should I listen to that whole thing again? No. I got it. I think I can probably remember all that. So the murder weapon was a spear. How medieval. The samurai spear added to the court record. Your Honor, this case is quite simple if you ask one question, and that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see? Understood. Let's call this security officer to the stand. Will the witness declare her name? Oh, aren't you a handsome fellow? I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered. Your name, please? Oh, dearie, no need for you to be embarrassed. Just call me Grandma. Your name, please? Seems Edgeworth has a bit of trouble getting his witness to say their name. Did he say witness or witnesses? Oh well. Windy old bag, dearie. Just, oh, Jesus Christ. Now she's doing motor mouth again. I can't read all this. Just freeze frame those. I'm sure they're very funny. Objection. I object to the witness's talkativeness. Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand. I was just getting to the good part, dearie. Perhaps we can get to the testimony. Now, the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct? Yes, say I was. Yes, see? And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by you, right? You know your stuff, dearie. You may begin your testimony. She sure is one hell of an old bag. Witness account. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest had been doing a run-through there since the morning. I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I got to the guard station. I was at the main gate from then until 5. Now, the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me, because a certain man walked by me at 2 p.m. It was Powers, that man right there, and he was heading toward the studio. You saw the defendant then? Very well, let's begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Witness account. Okay, I think I know what to hit her on. Hammer and the rest. Nope. At the guard station, it was at the main gate. The murder happened just to me because a certain man walked. It was Powers, that man right there, and he was headed toward the studio. Okay, that's the one. Objection. Let me get this straight, old bag, Miss Old Bag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? But you're talking about the man in this photo, aren't you? Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. What is this exactly? None other than the Steel Samurai, defender of Neo Old Tokyo. Miss Old Bag, is this the Mr. Powers that you saw? Of course. Didn't your mama teach you any sense, sonny? Anyone can plainly see that's Mr. Powers, right? No, they can't. Well, I mean, I wonder. True, Mr. Powers does play the role of the Steel Samurai. But that doesn't mean Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai. Uh-oh. I know that. I wasn't born yesterday. No one in this court is accusing you of that, witness. He's having trouble calling her old bag, apparently. However, you do not have proof that the person in this photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you? Nosy old man. Of course I have proof. What? Nani? Even Edgeworth is surprised. The prosecution would like to ask the witness, please make known all the information in your possession ahead of time. How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? You should be ashamed, all of you. Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me this isn't any good as evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look. Ugh. Wow, old Windbag has left even Edgeworth speechless. She's good. Let's hear about your proof, then. The man in the photo. I never say anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning, during the run-through of the action scene, I saw Powers trip and fall. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Now, look at this picture. You can see he's dragging his leg, see, clear as day. That's how I knew it was Powers, Happy. So he had sprained his ankle. Very well. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. She's got to be hiding something. I'll press her until she squeals. Not a visual I needed. Never said anything I don't mean. Warning during the run-through of the action scene about Powers trip and fall. We'll start here. Hold it. Trip and fall? Yes, and to think he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai. What a laugh. So Powers sprained his ankle. I helped make it better for him, of course. You helped make it better? I kissed it where it hurt. Let's just skip over that part, shall we? Where was the assistant then? Oh, her, she was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. You may continue your testimony. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. What prop did he break? He broke a prop. Sure did. His own samurai spear. His samurai spear? The murder weapon? Luckily, I was there with my duct tape to fix it. This strikes me as a significant detail. I'd better write this down in the court record. Samurai spear updated. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Was Mr. Powers' ankle badly sprained? Not so bad that he couldn't walk around. He went to his dressing room to rest up after lunch. Thus the nap. Anyway, I saw him dragging his foot while he walked. Dragging his foot, okay. I think we've heard enough. Haven't we, Your Honor? Well, there is one thing that bothers me. Which is? Where is this steel samurai costume now? Actually, well, we couldn't find it. We're looking though. Anyway, that's not important. The witness did see the steel samurai, yes. And it is clear that the person in the steel samurai suit was Mr. Will Powers. I suppose that's right. Are you sure you're sure, Your Honor? Object. Always object. Hold it right there. We keep talking possibilities, but we have to agree that this photo shows the steel samurai. Nowhere in this photo can we see Mr. Will Powers. The defense has a point. I also wonder if someone else not caught on camera could have killed Mr. Hammer. We have to consider that possibility also. Then allow me to remove that doubt from your mind, Your Honor. Will the witness continue her testimony, please? No need to ask twice, dearie. The time of poor Hammer's death was 2:30 p.m., true. The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them. So if no one else went to the studio, then it would have to be this steel samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Witness account continued. Poor Hammer's death was 2:30. Powers. Wait a minute. Jumping the gun on this, but yeah, I don't know if I should be. No one else went there. I would have seen them. Okay, that seems more likely. We have photo number 2. Take that. Objection. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this photograph. Look at this photograph one more time. This photo was taken by the camera at the gate for the studios, correct? Yes, sirree, sonny. So whenever anyone passed by here, it automatically takes a picture. And here I thought you didn't know your head from your hole in the ground. Right. Anyway, it's also true that the computer in the guard station records all security cam data. Oh, you know, if you wanted to work at the studio, we might have an opening. The very Phoenix. That very computer printed out this photo. Note that on the back of the photo are printed the words October 15th, 2 p.m., photo number 2. Even I know though that means it was taken at 2 p.m. on October 15th. Really, Sonny? Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is the bit that at the end where it says photo number 2. Photo number 2. The computer only held data for one photo on that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this photo be photo number 1 if it really was the only photo? Clack. Order, order! Please tell the court what you mean by this, Mr. Wright. Actually, that's what I want to ask the witness. This evidence shows that no one but 2 people went to the studio that day. Yet there is only data for one of them in the photo. Yet there is only data for one of the photos. Who could have erased the data from the other photo? For the other photo. Only someone with access, the security lady herself. You watch your mouth, whippersnapper. The only person I saw that day was Will Powers. But the camera on the gate fired twice. That means 2 people went by. Well, yes, that's what it would seem to me. Can the witness explain this to the court? I don't understand these newfangled computer things. Edgy boy, help. Believe me, I want to, but I don't know what this means either. Some help you are, you whippersnapper, too. Whippersnapper. Something the matter, Miss Oldbag? That's right. I just remembered something. Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate. Someone other than the Steel Samurai? Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way. Clack. Sigh. I see. Your testimony, please. Every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one other important job to do. I go through the photos recorded on the security computer and check them. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, you see. Come to think of it, now I remember throwing out one photo that day. Miss Oldbag, this is the first I've heard of this. Well, of course, Sonny. I've only just remembered it. Right, anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin your cross-examination. Well, I'd say this was a turn for the unexpected, but I kind of expected this. The other person. Okay, I kind of know what I'm looking for here. Okay, finish my guard duties. Nope. Come to think of it now, I remember throwing out one photo that day. What photo? Well, who in the heck was in that photo you erased? A fanboy. Fanboy? Steel Samurai fanboys, real freaks if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsals from gosh knows where. They're always hanging about. One was there that day. Objection? Wait a second, didn't you just say no one else could get in? I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Those were your words. Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. That grate has been loose for a while. It leads outside, well, that's where they come in. They come in through the drain? I told you they were freaks. Oh, and the kids, children, whippersnappers. Kids? So on the photo that you erased, it was a boy, probably 2nd or 3rd grade. What? Nani? Clack, clack, clack. Order! Order! Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on their way to the studios that day? One was the Steel Samurai dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be in about the 2nd or 3rd grade. Oh yes, well, see his type there. We see his type there every day. Can't stop him, can't catch him, can't kill him. A boy in the 2nd or 3rd grade. I assume it would be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield the samurai spear. Impossible, I'd think. It's quite heavy. Right. As I said, I didn't pay much mind to him. That's why I erased the data. Nick, what's going on? I mean, the boy was there. That makes him a suspect. Yeah, they're already trying to unsuspect him. Clack. This court will take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information. And no forgetting vital information this time. 11:08 a.m. Defendant lobby, number 3. Mr. Powers? Yes? Tell me straight, were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go to the studio? I didn't go to the studio. I was sleeping, honest. So who was the Steel Samurai in the security photo? How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off in the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really. But what? You should take better care of that stuff. I couldn't imagine anyone would want to steal a steel samurai costume. So, where does this leave me? It doesn't look good. You're the only likely suspect right now. Nick, what are we going to do? First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done this. Right. And it'll take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day. Right, but if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey, Nick, it's time. Okay, let's go. What does this mean? Don't sigh like that. You gonna cry? Clack. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on this matter? The prosecution's thoughts are simple. Nothing has changed. The other person who went to the studio was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence, but there is still no one else that could have committed this crime. I call for a verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. Very well. Mr. Wright, your thoughts? The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. There is another person who could have committed this crime. Clack. Order. Interesting. Let us hear who you have in mind. However, be aware that this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized. Right. Great. As if the stakes weren't high enough. So who was this person other than Mr. Powers who could have committed the murder? Oh, shit. The steel samurai costume. Oh, god damn it. She stole it. What's doing? I was too fast on the trigger finger. So you're saying the steel samurai in the picture is really the assistant? That's correct, Your Honor. Objection. Stupid Phoenix. If you're serious, you've got guts, Mr. Wright. Remember the photo? Wasn't the steel samurai a little lame? He was dragging his foot. Oh. Uh-oh. Bad feeling time. Remember the testimony concerning Powers' injury? Powers and poor Hammer were at the run-through. Oh, and me. What about the assistant? Oh, her. She was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. Shit. The assistant knew nothing of Mr. Powers' injury. She could look like the steel samurai. She could look like the steel samurai look with that costume. But she couldn't walk the steel samurai walk. She wouldn't have limped. That kind of takes the legs out from under the case. Mr. Wright, I'm afraid I have to penalize you as I warned. Yeah. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. May we move on, Mr. Wright? This fight isn't over yet. If you would, Your Honor, one more chance, please. Very well, go ahead. So who was this person other than Mr. Powers that could have committed the murder? Okay. Did he? Okay, it's gotta be talking about her. It was the security lady, Wendy Old Bag. Who? Who? The steel samurai is dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about this injury. The security lady, Old Bag. What? Whippersnapper. Clack, clack, clack. Order! Is this true, Old Bag? Old Bag, that's Miss Old Bag to you. Miss Old Bag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the steel samurai costume, then slipped into Studio One, the scene of the murder. Why would she go through the trouble of wearing the steel samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. She was in his costume. She could point the finger at If she was in his costume, she could point the finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. Oh yeah, right here. Sherlock Holmes 2, baby. That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection and some new damning evidence? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter? The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, so you all think I did it. Is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there, do something. What's my move? Maybe now's my chance to take this the whole way. Press further. The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's actions that day. But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer? You forgot that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive, too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope. Wait just a minute. What about that other person who went to the studio? That boy, the one whose photo I erased. He's only a grade schooler, though, as you said. 2nd or 3rd grade, was it? That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds tops. Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? That boy is not the killer. What? How can you be so sure? Or is it be nice to kids and mean to your elders day, whippersnapper? I have proof. Proof? Indeed. Then let's see this proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed this murder. Spear too heavy or something? But there's nothing in the description that would aid that deduction. Oh, that's right. Only studio employees have this. The scene of the murder, as we all know, was Studio 1. However, you need a card key to enter Studio 1. How could a boy with no formal relation to the studio have a card key? I see. Well, would the witness care to comment on this? The windbag, speechless. This has got to be a first. Very well. This court will suspend proceedings on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Windy. What was her name? Something old bag, Your Honor. Then the prosecution will look further into this old bag before we continue. That is all. The court is adjourned. Clack. This case is awesome. Well, wait a minute. I'm not going to just sit here while you run off barking up in the wrong tree. Me? I'm talking. Oh, great. Stop the presses. The windbag wants to talk. Miss Oldbag, what is this all about? You have omitted something from your testimony? Actually, if you must know, there's something I was told not to talk about. No, not to talk about? By whom? You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk? Well, testify. Oh, Jesus Christ. Thought I was going to a break. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studio that day of the murder. They said they had nothing to do with it, see? They told me to just pretend they hadn't been at the studio that day. But if you're going to go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free. I'm gonna have to take a break so I can drink something. My voice. Miss Oldbag, this is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now? Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap, and I always do what I'm told. No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the old bag. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. Okay, on this one, I'm not really sure. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. So you were told not to talk? That's right, by the studio and the TV bigwigs, no less. Why didn't I hear about this? Don't be too hard on yourself, Sonny. We were all in on it. There were some other people at the studio on the day of the murder. Who were these people? Well, the director and the producer, for starters. The director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director? Of course. Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it. So, where were these people? The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime, and they had a meeting after that. Where? Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer. The Studio 2? There was a Studio 2? Well, if you look at the guide map, here it is. You go through the gate and all the way to the left. The path where the monkey's head was fallen over. Well, Mr. Wright, would you like to continue with the cross-examination? I think I've already asked all my questions, but... Yeah, let's see what happens if I take a break. Your Honor, we have learned that there were others at Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the producer and some bigwigs were all present. Yet, as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. Clack. The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these other people we have just been told of. I understand, Your Honor. This ends the day's proceedings in the trial of Mr. Will Powers. That is all. This court is adjourned. Clack. October 18th, 1:04 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me. Aw, really, it's nothing. Grin. Oh, or should I say, sniff? We'll be going down to the studio to do some more investigating. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses for certain. So now's my chance to get material for the cross-examination. So Nick, have we figured out just who it was that was in the Steel Samurai costume? Could it really have been Old Windbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really. Neither do I, Nick. Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers. Poor old Windbag, I feel kind of sorry for her. Well, she wasn't winning any points in there, with or without my accusation. Okay, let's go down to the studio. Right, we'll be back to visit soon. Thanks, guys. To be continued. All right. Saving content. All right, I'm going to. I think I'll go get breakfast because I'm kind of hungry.